What if I told you? The opportunity you've been waiting for is already here, but you're too blind to see it. What if that person who laughs at your jokes a little too long, who stands a little too close, who looks at you like they've got something to say but never do, has already chosen you? Most people miss the moment, not because it isn't there, but because they're not trained to recognize it, because in the real world, attraction doesn't show up with flashing lights and bold declarations. It whispers, it teases, it hides behind nervous glances, inside jokes, subtle touches, and emotional tension you can feel but can't explain. That's why so many people end up saying, "I wish I knew they were into me. I would have said something." But by then, it's gone. The moment passed, the connection faded, the story never written, but not for you, because in this video, I'm giving you the decoder, the lens, the awareness most people never develop. I'm going to show you the exact signs someone gives off when they're silently hoping you'll make a move, signs backed by psychology, grounded in human behavior, enhanced by the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. And once you know them, really know them, you'll never look at connection the same way again. You'll move differently, with confidence, with clarity, with courage. Because here's the truth. People rarely say, "Hey, I like you. Do something about it." That would require vulnerability. That would mean risking rejection, and most people are too scared for that. So instead, they communicate through energy, through behavior, through proximity, tension, eye contact, and emotional breadcrumbs. They put themselves in your space, your energy, your orbit, hoping you'll notice, hoping you'll act. But most people don't. They overthink, they doubt, they wait for more obvious signs, and in waiting, they miss everything. But you're not going to miss it, because you're about to be the person who doesn't just see the moment, you own it. So, before we begin, I want you to claim this energy. Lock it in. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I move with courage. I see the signs. I don't hesitate. Say it again and feel it this time, because after this, hesitation will no longer be a part of who you are. Let's begin. Number 1, their eyes keep finding you. You glance up and there they are, looking at you, again and again. Maybe they pretend they weren't. Maybe they look away like nothing happened, or maybe they hold your gaze a second too long, long enough to say something without ever opening their mouth. That isn't random, that isn't accidental, that's attraction, that's emotional tension, that's energy trying to connect. And whether you realize it or not, the eyes are always speaking. The question is, are you listening? According to psychology, eye contact is one of the most powerful non-verbal cues we have. It's the gateway to emotional connection. When someone stares at you, especially when they do it more than once, it's not just visual, it's chemical. Eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same one released during deep conversation, intimacy, and even love. It builds trust, it lowers fear, it deepens closeness. So, if someone's eyes are locked on you repeatedly, their nervous system is already making a choice before they say a word. That's not small, that's real, and that's your signal. But here's the thing. Most people look away. Not just physically, emotionally. They downplay it. They think, "No way they're staring at me like that." They assume it's a coincidence. They convince themselves they're imagining it, just to avoid the risk of being wrong. But that's fear talking. That's insecurity blocking you from reading the obvious. And like Epictetus said, first, learn the meaning of what you see. Stop dismissing energy as coincidence. Stop rejecting what's clearly pulling at you. There's a difference between someone glancing at you once and someone who keeps coming back to you with their eyes, over and over, even when they try not to, even if they're across the room, in conversation with someone else, or pretending to be distracted. Somehow, their gaze finds its way back to you. That's not normal. That's not passive. That's intentional. Even if they don't consciously know it yet, you have their attention. And when someone's eyes are constantly drawn to you, they're not just watching. They're wondering, they're feeling, they're inviting. So here's your reminder. Don't look away. Don't miss the moment. Read the energy, trust the glance, recognize the pull. Now, drop this affirmation in the comments. I read the gaze. I trust the energy. I move with confidence. Because once you stop ignoring what the eyes are saying, everything changes. Number 2, they keep putting themselves near you, again and again. They sit beside you when there were other seats. They brush past you even when there's plenty of space. They show up in the same room, same hallway, same vibe, over and over again. They linger, they hover, they stay close. And you might tell yourself it's nothing, that it's a coincidence, that you're overthinking it. But listen closely. It's not random, it's intentional. When someone keeps showing up near you, they're not just there physically, they're showing emotional interest through proximity. Whether they say it or not, they're gravitating toward you for a reason. This is what psychologists call the propinquity effect. The simple, powerful truth that physical closeness builds emotional connection. The more someone is around you, the more drawn to you they become. And if they already feel something for you, being near you intensifies it. So when someone continually places themselves in your physical space, especially when they don't need to, they're opening a door. It might not be loud or obvious, but it's there. And they're hoping you're awake enough to notice. But here's where most people fall short. They hesitate. They freeze. They feel the tension. They sense the opportunity. And they back away. Why? Because nerves kick in. Because doubt creeps in. Because they'd rather play it safe than risk being wrong. But that's not courage. That's fear in disguise. And fear has never created connection. That's why Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That nervousness you feel when they get close, that's not a sign to stop. That's your signal to move, to lean in, to respond. Because when someone keeps putting themselves near you, they've already made the first move. Silently, repeatedly, consistently. All they're waiting for now is for you to see it and respond. So stop questioning the closeness, stop brushing off the signs, start walking through the open doors. Because distance doesn't lie, and neither does proximity. Number 3, they tease you, flirt with you, and joke. There's a glint in their eye when they joke with you, a softness in their sarcasm, a spark in their laughter that feels personal. They throw playful jabs, test your reactions, and create little moments of tension wrapped in humor. On the surface, it might seem light-hearted, casual, but beneath the jokes is intention. This isn't random. This is calculated chemistry. They're reaching out in the safest way they know how. They're saying, "See me, feel me, engage with me," without ever having to say those words. According to psychology, playful teasing is one of the earliest forms of romantic interest. It creates a low-risk way to express attraction while shielding against rejection. They get to spark something between you without putting everything on the line. If you respond with presence, with energy, with laughter, it fuels the connection. If you don't, They can pretend they were just joking. That's the beauty of it. It's a flirtation with an escape hatch. But make no mistake, it's a move. And if it's happening often, it's a sign they're drawn to you. But this is where your mind starts to trick you. You tell yourself, they're just being friendly. They're like this with everyone. But listen, your gut knows better. Your gut hears the tension in their voice, feels the spark in their glance, notices the way they look at you after they've said something funny, waiting, hoping, watching to see if you'll meet them where they are. The timing, the tone, the little inside jokes they seem to save just for you. That's not casual. That's connection trying to surface. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How many moments have you talked yourself out of because you were afraid of looking foolish, of reading it wrong, of hoping too much? Your imagination creates doubt, but your presence reveals the truth. So pay attention. Humor is a bridge, it's a spark, and when someone is using it to draw you in, it's a sign, a real one. Number 4, they get nervous around you. They fidget with their hands. Their voice shifts. Maybe it gets quieter. Maybe it speeds up. They play with their hair, check their reflection, adjust their clothes. Their posture changes when you walk into the room. They laugh a little too hard at your jokes or stumble over their words when talking to you. You notice it, that tension, that awkward energy. It's not because they're scared of you. It's because they care how they appear to you. And that care, that nervousness, is one of the most revealing signs of attraction. Attraction isn't always smooth. It's not always confident. Sometimes it makes people clumsy, because when someone sees you as more than just another person, when they feel like something's on the line, their nervous system kicks in. Psychologically, this is the body's response to emotional risk: sweaty palms, dry mouth, increased heart rate. That anxious energy isn't weakness. It's desire without an outlet. It's wanting without knowing what to do with it yet. They don't get nervous around just anyone. They're nervous around you. And that means something. It means you matter to them, that your presence activates something deeper. It means they're not indifferent, they're emotionally invested. And the higher the emotional stake, the harder it is to stay cool. They're not trying to impress just anyone. They're trying to impress you. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." You may not be able to control their nerves, but you can absolutely control your presence. You can choose to be calm, grounded, and open. So their nervousness finds safety in your steadiness. You can choose to lean in instead of pulling away. You can choose to recognize that their anxiety might not be a red flag. It might be the strongest green light of all. So don't mistake nervousness for disinterest. Don't assume the stumbles mean they don't care. Often they mean the exact opposite. Number 5, they start mirroring you. They start saying the things you say, picking up your slang, laughing the way you laugh. They lean in when you lean in, cross their arms when you do. You tell a story, and their face reacts like they're living it with you. It's subtle, almost invisible, but once you notice it, it's impossible to ignore. This isn't imitation. This isn't copying. It's connection. Their body and mind are syncing with yours, not by choice, but by instinct. That's not just interest. It's subconscious alignment. Psychology calls this mirroring, and it's one of the clearest signs someone is emotionally tuned in. When someone starts to reflect your behavior, your tone, your posture, even your expressions, it's because they feel connected. It's their way of saying, "I feel safe with you. I feel seen by you. I want to be in rhythm with you. This goes deeper than conscious behavior. It's limbic resonance, a phenomenon where your emotional states begin to align with another person's. Their nervous system is picking up your frequency and matching it without even realizing. Think about that. They're not just talking with you, they're feeling you. They're attuning to your presence, your energy, your style, and that only happens when someone is emotionally invested, because we don't mirror people we don't care about. We mirror those we're drawn to, those we want connection with, those we feel safe and emotionally open around. Epictetus once said, "You become what you give your attention to." If someone is starting to reflect you, to sound like you, to move like you, it means their attention is locked on you, not casually, not passively, but fully. And that kind of attention is rare. That kind of resonance doesn't happen every day. It's a sign they feel something, and they might be hoping you do too. So don't dismiss it as coincidence. Don't laugh it off. Mirroring is emotional proof, and it means the door to deeper connection is already cracked open. Number 6. They find subtle ways to touch you. A hand on your shoulder when they laugh, a gentle brush against your arm during conversation, a high five that lingers into a grasp, a playful shove that ends in a smile, a hug just a little longer than it needs to be. These touches might seem small, even meaningless on the surface, but in the language of attraction, nothing about them is accidental. Touch is one of the most powerful forms of non-verbal communication, and when someone starts finding reasons, no matter how subtle, to make physical contact with you, they're trying to bridge the emotional gap through the body. Psychologically, touch creates safety. It releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical associated with reward and pleasure. It lowers cortisol, reducing anxiety and tension. It builds trust, connection, and emotional intimacy. And most importantly, it's not something we do with just anyone. People guard their physical space. But when someone wants to be close to you, they naturally try to close that space, piece by piece, touch by touch. You have to pay attention to the frequency and the intention. Is it once, or is it every time you talk? Are they finding new excuses to make contact? If the touches are soft, subtle, and consistent, they're testing the waters of intimacy. They're saying, "I want to be close to you," without using words. That's not random, that's real. And here's where the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius hits deep. He said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If they're reaching for you, their thoughts already are. If their body is moving toward you again and again, they've already imagined what closeness with you feels like. That hand on your arm, that's not just contact, that's connection in motion. So don't ignore the physical cues. Don't tell yourself it's just how they are with everyone. Trust the way they linger, the way their hands reach out when words fall short. That's the invitation. That's the moment. That's your sign to lean in, not back away. Number 7. They open up emotionally. They share their inner world with you. They tell you about their past, their hopes, their pain, their dreams. They confide in you. They show you parts of themselves that others don't usually see. That's not small talk. That's trust. And trust is the highest invitation to connection. According to psychology, emotional vulnerability accelerates closeness. It's one of the most powerful ways people fall for each other. Stoicism teaches that vulnerability is strength, not weakness. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish." If someone risks looking foolish by showing you their heart, they're not playing games. They're hoping you'll meet them in that space. So now you know the signs, 7 signals backed by psychology, grounded in Stoic wisdom, visible only to the present and the brave. These are the signs that someone wants you to make a move, but won't say it outright. Why? Because they're scared, because they don't want to be rejected, because they're hoping you'll see them without needing to spell it out. That's the game of modern connection. It's not just about confidence, it's about awareness. Most people are too distracted, too hesitant, or too unsure to notice when someone is literally inviting them closer. But not you, not anymore. From the way they look at you, to the way they drift near you, to the nervous energy they can't hide, the teasing that comes with emotional heat, the touches that linger, the energy that mirrors yours, and the vulnerability they only show you. All of it is pointing in one direction. They want you to see them. They want you to move. They want you to rise. So here's my challenge. The next time you feel one of these signs, don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Don't talk yourself out of it. Lean in. Smile. Say something bold. Ask a deeper question. Start the conversation. Or simply close the distance with warmth. Because you don't need a perfect sign. You don't need permission. You need presence. And you need to trust what you feel. If this video gave you clarity, hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful psychology-fueled content, and send this to someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to start seeing the signs and owning your power, drop this final affirmation in the comments now. I see the signs. I trust the pull. I make my move. Because the moment isn't coming. It's already here. And now, so are you.